One of the most HR songs ever.
It's like, wait. We're back. I brought my pencil. Can you put the slide on, man? Ready?
We don't do a lot of good guitar stuff, so that was like
that was back when teachers still had morals.
I mean, did you see that video? I don't know about
Girl,
that teacher.
That was on Van Halen 1984.
Love it. Yes. I have it still on vinyl. Still have it.
It was my birthday, 6th grade. I had a party, and my dad, like the diaconal minister and his wife, and I was like horrified that my dad and his wife, like, I was just like, if someone brings me that, because people are like, what do you want? What do you want? And it had the smoking baby angel.
Yeah.
And my mother literally was like praying over the target, like all the time, like this was just really bad. And I got at that same birthday.
Album. It's a great album.
It is one of the best albums.
It's ever. So good. And you have to play it like full 10. Just
absolutely. And I remember I got the cassette and that vinyl. I have a picture of me somewhere holding both of them. And I just remember thinking, they're going to take it away. They're going to take it away.
I have, I think, 2 crates of albums, vinyl still. Like original, like I got them when I was, preteen. And not that I just went and found them now. Like, I've never given them up. I have Van Halen. I have Bon Jovi. I have Culture Club. All of them on vinyl.
I
love that.
Well, speaking of this,
I have Purple Rain on vinyl original. Yeah, I know.
We are going
to be worth something, just so you know.
It's not actually.
I know.
Really.
I'm going to tell Cassie, like, this album, when we sell it, that's the contribution I'm making to your wedding. So good luck. That's true. Dad, someone gave us $25.
And that person was me.
L'chaim. Enjoy.
Oh, I will tell you, this weekend, the Claytons are going to Charlotte, North Carolina. Is it in North Carolina? I always mess up.
Yeah.
To go see America.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I got the America shirts, and we're all going
to the desert on a horse with no name. I forget the rest of the words.
Of the rain in the desert. They won't
remember your name.
It's going to be really interesting. We are right in the front.
Everyone, you're right in the front. Thank God. Handicap seating.
At the Stephen Tangier Center that came out during the beautiful Stephen Tangier Center that came out, like right in the middle of COVID. One of those buildings that was about to launch because it was brand new and then COVID. And then empty for 2 years.
Listen, let me just tell you, our friend Steve Brown and I, and a couple of other people, Rebecca Briley and James, Abetta Stevens, I think was the 4 of us, went to see in Louisiana. We all happened to be at a conference, and we got tickets to go see ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner. And I'm just saying this because every third person either had an oxygen tank, walker, or a wheelchair. And so who attended. It is quite a different vibe in a like concert venue like that when
versus was it in a stadium or was it
in
a
it was stadium. In the Louisiana, the dome, whatever that dome was there. And I'm just saying this because America as a band they're also of an age.
That's right.
So everybody's coming in with their various medical
Girl,
needs. I'm telling
right.
you, it's a totally different vibe at the
It
concert.
is.
When they're like, everybody up, and it's like, oh, I can't get out of this chair.
I got this hip. And...
Right. And the guys up front are like, I'm going to sit down for these next 3 songs.
That's right. That's right. It's not hands up the whole time.
It's not what it once was, where it's like Van Halen, Hot for Teacher, jumping off of speakers. Those guys can't jump up. David Roth does not.
Go ahead and jump.
Just go ahead and bop your head. Just let's do that instead. Yes. Look, we're getting
They're
up
changing
there.
the name to Lean.
And even if the lean is unintentional, it's happening.
Right. Everybody will look like a little bit.
Ooh, Mark is going to see Foreigner. That's awesome. I mean, so fun. Good morning, everyone.
And look, hi, Sarah. I went to see Sarah and I used to work together.
Josh Rock. And first of all, Michael Bolton, Josh Rock, and I saw Michael Bolton. And Patti LaBelle. And so Nicole is here. I think she was.
Didn't we say that was going to be our karaoke song?
I mean, oh no, that's Michael McDonald and Patti LaBelle.
Oh, sorry, yes, wrong Michael. That's our karaoke.
Michael Bolton. And here's all of your pop culture news. Michael Bolton just announced he has brain cancer, and I will tell you that when Josh and I saw him a couple years ago, Josh, I don't remember when that was. Pop that year in there. He was not looking so great then. I mean, very stiff, and I'm not making fun. Couldn't move very much up front. Stood in place in front of the microphone. And I remember saying then, we're just getting older, right? We're just getting older. Yes, Nicole was there as well. So it's a different
experience. I think I told you I saw the Commodores for at 4th of July, and there's one original Commodore. I was like, they should name it the Commodore and Friends.
Right.
And it's not the Commodore.
It's not the Commodores.
It's not Lionel. It's not the Commodore. To be clear.
Well, I mean, but these bands, the names are the group name is legally protected under the label, so that's why you still see the Four Tops performing and the Temptations. None of the originals. I mean, they're all gone.
Michael Jackson. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You go into the timeout corner for that one. You have to go in timeout.
I'm so sorry
for that.
I should go into the timeout because I did something. You won't even believe this.
Oh, goodness.
I got a latte today.
Not a flat white.
Right. Everybody at the Starbucks was confused. Everybody, they were like, are you sure? Was this a mistake? I said, no, I'm sitting here and I'm like, why did I do that to myself? I was trying to be cool.
No, you're not being cool. You're being pragmatic because they rip you off with the flat white. I've said this
so heavy. These lattes are pretty heavy.
They leave this much space at the top after they give you that flat white. It's outrageous. Fill that cup up. Fill that cup.
But the flat white is only supposed to be that big. When you
I don't care. Then don't sell it in a bigger. Don't give me the small version in the bigger cup and charge me for the big cup. Don't do that.
That's what they did at Dunkin' Donuts last week, and they said that they were waiting for the delivery.
Jamie will pop this up for you. I love Unload.
I was going to put that in and I was going to wear the shirt. Did you get your shirt yet?
I didn't. I forgot all about ordering it. I'm the worst because I wound up ordering. Here we go. I wound up ordering. We have the latest swag at Humoriso. We have an Under Armour backpack that I love.
You ordered that and didn't order our shirt for the conference.
I forgot. This is also on the Humoriso Bottega. And please feel free to go on. It is an awesome bag. I'm super pumped because I'm packing for Unleash next week, which we'll be live from Unleash. We will probably be doing it on Wednesday, everyone. Just make a note of that because the conference ends on Thursday and we won't have access to space to do some of that.
I'm excited about that. And then the next week after that,
we're together at Work Human. I am speaking at Work Human. Jackye is covering it as a media analyst, specialist extraordinaire, right?
I don't know I don't listen.
I don't know who you are either.
I don't.
I did talk to Work Human and they're like, oh, yes, let's get you to do But First Coffee somewhere from the floor there. I was like, okay, let's go.
And then it's the finale of The Amazing Race. I don't know if anybody watched last night. There was a non-elimination.
What date is the finale?
Thursday, and then there's a
Thursday the 15th.
Yeah.
The same week as Workhuman. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, Thursday the 15th, everybody. Put that on your calendars. The finale.
Yes.
That Jackye has a chance. So make sure everybody.
I mean, it's a year. It's surprises. They said it's a year of surprises.
I know. I mean, just pay attention.
I love our topic. And I think one of the things that I noticed, it was like, I always going through this process and going through all the things, I feel like my life has just started. Like, I really thought I would think that it was ending.
It's another song lyric.
It is.
What? So before we started, I was quoting an inappropriate song lyric because Jackye shared something that I was off the rails. But I feel like my life has just started. That's from a Disney movie somewhere. That's from Frozen. It's from somebody help me. It's from some lyric from one of the songs. I love
Jessica. Frozen. Should I just be Jackye with one name?
Yes.
Or should I just call it It's Jackye with a Y?
Yes.
Yes. If you guess who wins The Amazing Race, John will buy you a mug.
I'm sorry. This is breaking up. I can't hear what you're saying. No. Frankie's clapping for me. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, what's something that you consciously learned in the last 5 years?
What? So let's define consciously. You mean intentionally?
Intentionally, like, oh, I didn't know that this salve will take off elbow.
Whatever. See, I knew I could count on Jess. Thank you, Jessica, for the first time in forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And Nicole, there we go. There we go. The 1-2 punch. Perfect. So I did this is not 5 years. This is like 5 months. I can tell you the things. Right? I thought the last 5 months. So practically in the sphere of HR, leave management. So I did a learning on both New York State's paid family leave and Massachusetts. And I decided after that, I don't like any of this. And not because I don't appreciate what it's about, but my gosh, it's so cumbersome and it's confusing to the average person who is trying to like get the state benefit of paid family leave. Like it's because part of it goes to the employer, but part of that is on you. And so if you're having a moment, if there's a medical thing going on with you, what you want me to do? Bring an iPad to while you're in the bed unconscious to say, can you fill this out so that you can get, I know, but there's no, like, you have to have like a loved one, I guess, do it for you. But again, who is the loved one? How do they know? Like all these things, it's just, anyway, that I did. I did a course on employer brand. And so I own a company called Humoriso. And I mean, stupid, right? But I'm practicing. See, I try to insert the name of the company every 3 to 4 minutes.
Is that what you're, like you haven't done that literally in like 5 years, but it's.
So I did that. And then I did, I read a book on being an extrovert in communicating with introverts.
And what did you learn?
I probably shouldn't have married Kathy. That was wrong.
Not true. You're
not true. 100% not
so
true.
Lucky.
I mean, 100% not true. No, like that's part of it is like, I think one of the things that I've noticed, and this is so great that we're talking about lifelong learning. we were talking about concerts and getting older and all of those kinds of things. But the truth of the matter is, one of the things that happens to us as we get older is we get very stymied, and we're set in our ways. And so everybody else will have to deal with me. And so the problem is, if everybody our age feels that way, then no one is really healthily communicating with each other, because everyone's attitude is, this is how I am, deal with it. That's not going to help anybody. So I felt a little bit like I was becoming that like curmudgeon. One of my favorite sketches from Saturday Night Live was way back, Dana Carvey being the angry old man, just yelling about everything. Yes. And I'm like, there were a couple of moments, I would say the fall of last year, that I thought, ooh, I think I'm becoming him. It's no longer like a funny sketch, but I think I have moments where, if I'm honest, I'm kind of becoming this person, get off my lawn, kind of deal. And so I needed to kind of push through that. So how'd I do?
I'm proud of you for admitting that, but the curmudgeon is my best friend. So keep them close. And I don't like changes. So if you change, you're going to
I'm happy to be a curmudgeon. It's easy to do, especially in a lobby bar. So like if I'm with you, right?
Oh, I'm full. Look, I am like that. I went to a bar the other day and I asked for like a Bay Breeze, right? It has pineapple or whatever. They say we don't have pineapple juice. And I was like,
first of all, they said this is not 1993.
Yeah, they were like, this is not the 80s. This is not my 80s. I just thought everybody had a little fruit juice. Need a little fiber.
Wait, I'll have to come in.
Yeah, exactly.
My collar up. Hey, baby, is that a Bay Breeze you got?
You want an eagle necklace? But I do get weird about that. I get like when I go and people don't have Corona, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I'm lost. But I have learned so much about the most recent was about the EPA. So, me and Todd started our little business. And as part of that, it is
funny that Scoops. EPA matters for this. I don't think people appreciate that. It's
called Platinum Scoops, and we really want to be eco-friendly. And so it made us look into different products that have been around for dogs and for picking up waste, because if you learn this business, they'll teach you to double bag using those 13-gallon trash bags. And it's like you're going every week and using 4 to 6 trash bags per house, like you're adding. And we learned about that, but then we created a bug spray for dogs and humans because we're going into summer, right? So then I was like, oh, what do you have to do if you have a repellent? Turns out you have to file with the EPA, you have to list all of the ingredients, and you have to have scientific proof in order to put the label on that the products inside actually repel bugs. And there's different words that you have to say, the way that it's listed, because we're having these little bottles. We've ordered green bottles, all.
So you have to pay for the study to be done that it does. The study's
already been done. So if you're saying we're using tea tree oil and all of the different things, and then you have to have a carrier oil. So then we added almond oil, and then it was some people are allergic to nuts and they can't use it. So then we have to put may contain. And I was like,
yep.
That's a lot.
It's a ton. Crush up mothballs, by the way, and put it in there as well. That keeps everything away.
Windex. Put some Windex in there.
Mothballs are illegal in some states. Look, if you all knew this, I'm so sorry. Are
you serious?
Yeah, using them outside, because they are animal repellents. If you have rodents and that kind of stuff where you are, I'm not judging, but outside, raccoons, things like that, and you put some mothballs around your trash cans and that kind of stuff because the smell will keep them away. Some states that's illegal. You're not allowed to put them out.
I had no idea.
This is what I'm saying. So your point about the amount
there's a lot. And to Dion's point,
yes,
people were like, "Oh, the composters, it's completely separate. It's not the same."
Good morning, Dion. Good morning.
I mean, I was like, I asked my husband, I was like, are we going to have a they called it a digestives, which was made it even grosser.
So we use those little bags that are biodegradable.
But
Well, I'm
okay.
sorry. Let me change. I used the wrong pronoun. I apologize. Kathy uses these bags.
Y'all have to have a poop fairy. I don't know. I've never had to pick up poop, and we've had
I don't
dogs for years. It's weird.
do. If I'm ever left alone with the animal and he has to go out, I just put a flag on the lawn as to where he
Micah
left his business.
is a love.
First of all, whatever. And anyway, so those little green biodegradable bags. So are they bad?
They're not as great. You want to get compostable. Like they literally have some that are made from cornstarch, like different ones that are easy to break down within the week. And we started using this thing, but
what a great idea. See, because you're on. I don't have.
here was the other part that I learned that's weird. I think we're going to see a lot more of it.
Yeah, I don't get anything. You're
We
moving
always
too
we have
fast.
to
You're
do it when
moving
we
too
try.
fast for the.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to stay here for a minute and see if it does. If you're just checked in, ignore that.
Look, see.
That's a long time. What was I talking about?
It's
Who are
never
we?
sure
Where?
about the hand gestures you're making. No, you said cornstarch bags.
Oh, the bags that we have. But when we ordered them, this was interesting. There were 3 things you could pick. Where was it manufactured? Where will it be shipping from? And something else. Like you could pick, I want something that was made in the USA, shipping from the USA, something else from the USA, European Union, UK, which was something I had never seen before, which was a weird choice. Like, where do you want it coming from?
I guess maybe because of tariffs and stuff.
I guess
would
they're just
think
added it
so,
because of
right?
the tariffs. But I
But
thought it was
someone's saying the
interesting
same
that
thing.
you could say, I want it to come from the US, but still made in China if you wanted. It was just a weird.
It's interesting though. The one thing that this reminds me of though is again coming back to curmudgeonness. You're learning at this moment with what you just shared is out of necessity because you're choosing to be entrepreneurial in a new way, right? And so I wonder, and I would love to hear from everybody. I wonder when we talk about lifelong learning and you're in the same kind of work industry that you've been in for decades or a long time, are you as inspired, right? Like you have a necessity,
A compelling
for
reason.
some of what you're doing, right?
A compelling reason to learn.
But if you like, there are people that could be at an organization. I mean, we know this, that have been in an organization for years, and the learning has kind of like stopped.
That is what's been going on so terribly, and what AI has revealed more than anything else are gatekeepers of information. Like we've always been in the information age, but maybe we didn't know where to go. Now you only have to go to one source for all of the information. And the other part that you're learning, go and ask somebody, go on your chat GPT and ask, when was the last time no-see socks were popular? When was the last time flyers was the best method of communication? When was the last time? How can you best communicate, right? Because like we were interviewing for a nonprofit.
I
like it. Your favorite dance. But we were interviewing for a nonprofit in town here in Waco and for marketing people. And we were talking to people and you could hear they're all different ages, all different skill levels, but listening to the skills that they had, it was almost like a period piece. It was almost a snapshot of when the learning stopped.
Right. And I wonder, some of it is because some of those technologies, and I'll pick on social media as an example, some of those technologies have plateaued. There's nothing else that, on X, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, the algorithms are what they are. The only things that really have changed are those that are content producers on those platforms, TikTok as an example. I know that the amount of money that you can make being a content creator on a platform like TikTok has changed dramatically because of the amount of people who've learned, right? And so now you've got all these people, right?
Flooded. It's not only flooded, like you have to be a video producer and editor on all of the social media platforms in order to be on all of them. Right?
Yes.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter if
it doesn't matter. And I
they
love,
I
thank
don't
you,
edit
LinkedIn user,
videos,
by the
like,
way.
no, they are requiring in order to push
Yes.
the algorithm to have video.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, remember when, and by the way, we're not wearing our LinkedIn user shirt.
I know
Definitely not
LinkedIn
wearing
user.
it today,
I
but
have
welcome
one
LinkedIn user. I know I got
I
to
ordered
order it
one.
today. I'm learning how to write correct prompts. Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. The reality though of what you just described is there's a loss leader behind that kind of learning now, because
Right.
it's like, well, okay, you took a course on Instagram, I'm making it up, right, about how to market on Instagram. What are you going to tell me that I don't already know, or that someone else isn't already doing within the organization?
But
You know,
guess what happens?
it's
And we
it's
see
terrible.
this, you and I see this now. We're not the only gig in town, right? There are other
From a
shows.
pooper scooper standpoint, is that what you mean?
No. I mean, from you know, a morning show talking about HR, a guy in a grill trying to do it. Like,
I'm sorry, I think we are, but keep
well,
going.
I
I
mean,
know there's shows that have two guys and a girl. I know there's shows that have two guys. I know there's shows that have a guy.
thank you. Is this like Sesame Street? This is
I
like
think
full
there's a
match.
show that has two girls. I don't think there's any that are us.
Our fashion models like ready for
We're always ready for our close up,
Paris Fashion Week.
except my neck. I
I
got it.
know, what is that?
Anyway.
That's another day. But like you can't fake it. I find it really, like we were talking about, like back in the days when there was Regis and
Kathy Lee.
Kathy Lee, and then it was like, how do you do it? And then you had Regis and Kelly, and then you had Kelly and what's his face, like. But they tried so many people to try to put those things together. There are some things that you cannot artificially put together.
And it's also about what's right.
What's uniquely
yes.
you.
And I think research matters. So when we talk about lifelong learning, from my perspective, full boat research matters. What does that mean?
Yes.
That means I'm just going to use a simple example that you just brought up. So Kelly and Mark right now is the latest iteration of that live show.
Yes.
And they are the number one morning show.
That's right.
But when you look at the numbers, what number one means today, how to get to number one isn't what it once was when it was Regis and Kathy Lee. They had much more.
It's a fifth of the audience.
Yes. Even though they're number one. So what do? We lean in. Well, we're number one. Well, that is true. But relatively, this is full.
Right. Oh, why can't I hear you?
Because it like kicks me out, and it kicks.
I can hear you
back. So anyway, this platform, it full boat research is, I need context. Yes. You're the number one show. What has the number one show been like over the last 10 years, 20 years,
right?
50 years,
right?
When you see the actual viewership, that gives you a little bit of a different context into what number one means. So that relativity matters. So I'm the best of the worst. What does that tell me? Like, I got to know that stuff. That's where I think learning, one piece of learning in organizations that's been, I think, put aside, not everywhere, I'm just speaking generally, is research.
Because
we just jump onto the
it's forever. Right? That's the other part that's different, because we crop up so much of the content and the things that we put together, learning the platform, feeling like somebody talked to me the other day and I was laughing. They were like, oh, well, you're an influencer. So, and I was like, I don't really feel like I'm an influencer. And they were like, no, but who can you, if you called this person, would they answer the phone? Like just look at that person. Like, look at it from that perspective.
Who are you calling?
You have literally, I called my dad last night and he got mad at me because Survivor was on. And I was like,
now, it is important for everyone to know that you, because of being on the show, you are now friends with Beyonce. Have you talked about that yet? You haven't talked about it.
But have you seen all the pictures from last week? Last week in Austin, I did go to their Survivor party, and hilarious and adorable. I just have to tell you that me and my sister are
First of all, your sister is the cutest.
The absolute cutest. Look. Ooh.
By the way, I know. I love that. And the hat, you look super cute.
And I do wear purple now. Like,
you do.
What am I? I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I gotta wear what I have, which right now is a lot of purple. A lot.
First of all, you have work.
I have lots of work.
And oh my gosh, Jamie, I can't wait to get into all the Vegas clubs with Jackye next week. This is the issue. We're following you around. Do you know?
Stop making fun of me. That's the funny. Like, I kept telling everybody, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna pop off." I was like, "It's not like that anymore."
It is.
People do not know who I am.
I'm going to say all kinds of stuff. Be like, she was on Amazing Race.
And they'll go, "Oh, I haven't watched that in years."
She's sleeping with Ryan Seacrest.
Stop. First of all, I don't think I'm Ryan's type. Second of all, my husband.
You're a petite flower. He loves petite flowers.
I am a petite. He does love petite flowers.
Petite flowers.
I am a very petite. I'm a very petite flower.
But the one thing I mean, you're ruined now. Jamie will be there next week at Unleash as well. You're ruined. He's going to bring just the flash cube, not a real camera, just to keep having the flash cube go off all the time. But this is, it's funny because I'm going to make a point with this. Seriously, when you talk about learning, this kind of behavior, why do we tease about it? Because we've learned that people can get into things and can gain access to things by creating a frenzy, by creating a flurry of activity, even if it's craptascular. It's not real. There's no substance to it, but I'm going to feel like there's substance to it. And part of what we've done with learning, especially when we look at micro learning, is we've tried to make it so palatable. We're like, oh, we have to make 3-minute, quick bite-sized versions of learning because everyone has a very short attention span. The more that we do that, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're making short attention spans. And to be quite honest with you, and I would challenge you to do the research, the retention of information has not shown itself to be as great by doing micro learning as opposed to, I'll call it traditional learning. I understand boredom sets in. I'm not talking about that, but the actual usage of the information that is being taught, we don't see a whole lot of difference between an hour session and a 3-minute session. We don't see practically much of a difference. That's important.
Listen to what happened. So I'm doing my LinkedIn Learning course. I am an approved LinkedIn Learning educator.
You are.
And I'm working on the course. And that's right here.
Cheers, baby.
As I'm working on the course, there's a lot of content. It's very specific of the things that are required to do a LinkedIn course. And we've all seen LinkedIn course and we understand the format, just like everything. You understand the format and you know how it goes. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to stretch this out. I go and look and I was ready. I built out the script. I timed out the script. I'm working on the slides to go with the script. And I think I got it. These are 3 to 5 minute videos. Doing 14 of them.
But that's a whole course.
That's a course. It's a whole course.
Yes.
So when I go back on page 5, paragraph 3, it's like, make sure that you have a transition every 20 seconds. Every 20 seconds.
That's quick.
Every 20 seconds. I went from, because it's 3 to 5 minutes. Now, usually if you do 3 to 5 minute slides, you like 2 per minute. Right? 10, maybe 15.
Right.
We just went to 37 slides from 15.
Right.
I had to come up with 22 slides. And I was like.
And 15 of them were selfies of you, correct?
That's all I had. Stock photos. Most of it was a palm tree.
I mean, Yes, that's true. If you remind me of, did you ever do Disrupt HR? Did you ever speak at one of
Yes.
those?
Yes.
Right. And so remind me, 5 minutes, 20 slides.
20 slides.
And they
They auto go every
how
minute.
no, it's got to be less than a minute because it's
It's
20
like every 30
every
seconds,
20 seconds. It might be
something
something
like
like
that.
that.
I've done a
15
couple
seconds,
of those.
something. Yeah.
The thing that's funny is because then you can't engage, you can't go back, you can't go off, feed off the audience. Somebody during the course will forget, they will lose their place. And
Yes.
most speakers at a disrupt event have to look back because just to make sure that you're on
Yes.
timing,
Yes. I will
right?
tell you that it was one of the hardest things I've ever done from a
It was great.
speaking perspective.
Yes.
It's terrific. But
Building is
yes.
difficult,
Yes.
but they're
Yes.
so good.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I'm so obnoxious. I loved what came out of all that preparation, but it was very hard. Because to exactly your point, I'm an interactor. I'm a meanderer, right? So just kind of walking around and connecting with people as I'm delivering that information, that's part of my vibe. You don't get that in 5 minutes. You've got to boom, 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 like be super quick. So learning, it can happen through different process, different medium. I understand that. But I think part of what is the challenge for lifelong learning is A, figuring out what works best for you, and B, checking that every so often. Meaning the way that I learn right now in my life is a little different than how I learned when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolved. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just changed. And so if I keep going with what I knew worked for me in my 20s, it may not be as effective as it could be for me now because I'm not checking to see what do I have to change? How do I have to do this? I don't know that we encourage that sort of like take an assessment. How are you doing now with learning? Should you change the way you're doing some things?
And you don't need a scientific calculator anymore. We have the whole internet. Like the things that we had in our 20s, right? Didn't even word processors unnecessary. Who was it? It was Dion who told me we were talking about the remarkable, and then everybody told me to get a remarkable. Yes. So I got the least expensive, still fucking expensive.
Yeah.
The least expensive,
totally expensive
of these. But this is a life changer for me, even if part of it is because I have ADD or ADHD, whatever we're calling it today. But the other part is I have to write something down. I'm fidgety and I have to take notes and highlight. And I have notebooks everywhere. I'm starting to do my class that I started in January. This is why you have to buy the limo every time we go, because of stuff like this.
Freaking stripper pole.
The stripper pole. Different show. If you haven't seen that,
watch last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
We've been talking about it for 3 years.
Dion, I know you're saying yes to the remarkable, not to the oh good. I thought not to the stripper pole. I want to be clear.
No, yes, it was but that's been really helpful.
Yeah.
And because one of the things that I would love is because, like you were talking, I brought it up because it helps me learn, but also because I use pencils. I write with pencils. I still prefer pencils. And I love that this gives me a pencil to work with. Right.
I just want to say, can we get sponsored by Remarkable? Look at everybody. Look at everything that's happening here.
We should be getting a cut.
I love you all so much. Please keep commenting. We love that you do this. I do want to make sure though, because I know that we wind up just chatting and all of a sudden it's an hour. If you are watching right now or watching later, if you have a favorite course, and for this I would say, if it's online, can you put the link into the chat as well? Like, what course did you recently take that you love, that you found helpful? Pop that into the chat. If there's a book that you're reading, and we got too many comments, so I've been missing stuff. But Sean put in, I've read Quiet as well by Susan Cain. Great book. So if there's a physical book that you're reading, you can put that in the chat as well.
Make sure we put it in the show notes so we can help put those things together.
Yes. And we're also going to tag Remarkable on on everything that goes out with this show, and hopefully they will give us branded But First Coffee Remarkables.
Even if you don't want us to mention your name or say the things, like just name it when the show is over and
Yes.
just give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
We're looking for mentorship and sponsorship. We're trying to, like, we have families. If for just $1 single,
you are awful and hilarious.
You can feed Scooby.
Listen,
for like
we're in different spots. We're moving quickly towards those different spots, both of us, because so this weekend is the graduation of the youngest from undergrad.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So right, we're there. Everybody off my payroll.
This is horrible. Our kids are graduating.
My Cassie,
youngest.
Sunday, she graduates with her I think it's a Bachelor of Science.
TJ's got an extra year. TJ's gap year, he decided to have a very expensive gap year. I should have just sent him to Europe his freshman year, because that was a wash.
First of all,
he's going to be back for another
That would have been smart, actually, because he does need to get some foreign relations under his belt for his campaign to be president.
He did go to Germany. He has gone to Germany twice.
I mean, I want this clip to be used in the future, as I've said it 100 times. TJ will be running for president of the United States. There is no question.
Do you know what TJ is doing right now? You will love this. Sweet baby TJ is working in Kid Town at the YMCA with toddlers. And
they love him. I can already tell you.
It is so funny. And he comes home, and TJ is also my child. And so when he talks to me, he always goes, Mom. And it's just like the Hallmark movies. He'll be like, guess what happened at HEB today? Which is not the real HEB. It'll be the Kid Town HEB. He'll be like, Sally tried to stab Mike with a corn. We had to take away corn in HEB. No corn. And I'll just crack up. And he's like, they're banking again. But they won't give Timmy any money. They don't like him. And they kept saying, we hate Timmy. Another counselor. We hate Timmy.
Oh my gosh.
These children.
Violent.
It is so funny. But it's like the thought of your own child. Now we're having, our children are adults.
And it's really interesting, because I know not everybody needs to or has, the post-high school experience of college. And I want to make sure I'm a huge champion of serving our country. If you choose to go the military route, going to trades, like I'm a huge advocate for those things. Cassie wants to be in the medical field, and so obviously had to do some additional learning in order for that to occur, and still probably has more to go, quite honestly, but it ain't going to be on my dime. And so this kind of pathway, and having your last child, this is graduating undergrad. So I'm like, I'm old. Like the baby is graduating college. And so it's crazy.
Listen, TJ, we are now at the point where.
Thank you, by the way, for all these comments with suggestions. Yep, keep going. Sorry.
It's the things that he is asking us for advice and tips for are questions of when we were together. So it was interesting when it's like, when did you have your first date, or when did you drive your first car, or how do you get your oil change, or all these things that you remember when you were on your own.
Yep.
We were talking, TJ's girlfriend is going to go to law school, but is taking a gap year to do a Christian mission in San Francisco.
Okay.
And sweet baby TJ is staying home and being in Austin. And he was like, what about when you had a long distance relationship? And I was like, me and your dad had a long distance relationship for just a really short time when I was 21. And he was like, what did you do? So it's interesting to talk about that.
You were 4 miles apart. That is not long distance. Why are you like this? We lied to this child. You were 4 miles apart.
I counted. I was in Arizona, far away.
4
states away.
4 miles.
But it's like, But let me tell you something, talking about learning. You don't know some of the things that you're getting into. And as you develop, you don't know, you're learning on top of other experiences. And we are all a summation of all of these opportunities. And so the more you learn, even if you think it's little, there's always something to learn, right? There's always something that I'm going to be able to take back from this. I'm not sure always what it is. I've gotten to the point in my 50s where I'm excited to start the journey, and whether I succeed or fail, I'm excited either way, because I've everything in my life has been enhanced by all of these experiences.
And I think that I love that you're saying that, because the TJ example is a great example. And I know TJ is your child. So I get that, right? So for everybody's context, I understand that. But what I would say is, when we think about the workplace, right? When we think about organizations, do you have the kind of rapport and relationship up the chain as well as down the chain, so to speak, where someone, let's say a subordinate, if you're sitting in a supervisory type role, whatever that is, all the way up to, CEO, whatever supervisory type role you may have, do you have staff that are comfortable enough to say to you, can I ask you a question? Would you tell me about when, whatever, right? As far as like what it was like for you when you first were learning this thing, how long did it take you to really like become super competent about this part of the lean manufacturing process, or whatever it might be? Are people comfortable to come to you and have that kind of conversation, seeking to learn, but doing so off of the experience you've had? If you haven't heard from anybody in a long time who's asked you about how you learned something, that might tell you something.
I was going to say skip Gen Xers, because I laugh at Gen Xers because we had to do so much. Because if you tell somebody I don't know how, and they'll be like, like we are the throw you in the pool generation and swim to shore.
For sure. Well, and so that's why up the chain it works for us, because we have a lot of angst with these people that threw us into the pool.
But also, I was talking about I'm building a speaker reel with a producer, which different show. But one of the things that was interesting is that in all of the things as she's developing, she goes, you speak to leaders, but you really like the people. And I was like, no, I don't. She goes like, yes, you do. She was like, you say you hate people, because I say that. She was like, you really care about people. And she was like, I just want you to know, and I'm just a producer and I don't work in your field, but this is going to be unsustainable. And I said, you don't know who I am. There's no way that I'm
know who I am. That's what you
leave all these babies out there. And when I say babies, I mean individual contributors without a leader. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a boss.
Yeah.
What is so horrible is that you are responsible for your own learning. And to John's point, you don't even know what you don't know to ask. I mean, you're asking the person, they don't know, because we are trained to tasks instead of roles. And that's why we have so many people so many things that have been washed out of the water. Having a degree doesn't matter anymore, because they're all different. The job titles don't translate. Like people just make stuff up, and it's hard to develop. And we do a bad job of it's not, we have a culture now, as those of us in talent acquisition, older, this is ageist. We see a lot of people who are older say, I don't want to work with this person because they've skipped jobs every 2 years. And you have to say, that's the standard. And so we have the ability to develop people into leaders.
It's hard to think about
a career journey, but people leave 2 to 3 years.
They do.
Everybody.
They do. It's hard because, and again, I know we're painting with a broad brush, but it is hard to recognize that for some people, a job is a learning opportunity and may only be seen as a learning opportunity. Because to your point, we will still have those. And I know that this is true for some people in other generations as well, but who will feel like I value loyalty.
Right.
And to me, if the role that I'm in continues to afford me opportunities to learn and I can contribute effectively, healthily, and I get joy out of that, I'm fine to stay at a company for 10 years.
Yeah.
Great, like terrific. But there will be some people who look at it to say, let me learn what I can learn here. And in a couple of years, I'm going to move on somewhere else, learn what I can learn there, move on, then a couple of years later, somewhere else. I know that that doesn't compute well for some people. But
Right.
both of those realities can be true. We don't have to
Yes.
pick one or the other. Both of those realities
I
can
just feel
exist.
like we are the last generation that wanted to and anticipated having a career where we were going to
Do
stay.
you find that the C word comes up often
Yeah.
or no? The career word.
Oh,
By the
no.
way.
No. When I talk to people, that's what well, let me take that back.
Because that's a learning, I will say, for some organizations as to what, let's take a litmus test on career, that term. Does
Right.
that resonate with those that are involved in the organization? You may have been able to talk about career aspirationally 10 years ago with those in your organization, but today it may not translate the same way. Have you done any research, you know what I mean, to see if
I
it matters?
I feel like that. I feel so again, we're talking about learning. And one of the things that is really interesting is that I have sweet baby TJ, but I also have another child who is like a force that is off the chain, who in the last year has learned how to DJ. They've doubled up playing the bass. They have a degree in math. And they live in New York City, the new version of New York City single 20s. All of them do that. All of them have 4 or
Yeah.
5 jobs. And when you say, so what do you do? They're like, well,
A little
I
bit of
do
this, a little bit of
coffee
that.
at
Yeah.
this place on Thursdays. I deliver this. I fix broken screens. Like it is. Yeah. There's a lot of people that fix broken screens in New York. Why do I know? Because Clay has replaced theirs 4 times. 4 times. And I
Clay.
said, buy another computer. At this point,
What is the issue with the screen? Clay's punching it? What is happening that it breaks 4 times? Oh my gosh. Okay.
in New York City.
Yeah,
So
it
what are
doesn't
you
bounce.
dropping? It's
It
a
doesn't
miracle.
bounce.
No, no. Those hearts that's like the original concrete. This is
The original concrete
yeah,
jungle.
it is
Yes.
on bedrock. But I feel like a lot of people are I love that Dion said people have to leave to move up, but they also have to move to learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that I've noticed that has been really interesting to me, and I would never, never think that I would talk about pet waste ever. And
Ever.
I'm having so much fun learning all of these new things. And it's so exciting. And I'm doing marketing and I'm doing all these things. Of course, nobody should pay me to do that because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm learning and it's exciting to learn those things.
Well, and I think that one of the fun things we also, I would say, can run the risk of not taking advantage of, and I mean advantage in a healthy way. You have people within your organization who probably have some great ideas about how things can improve in the company. And I'm not talking about, more Milky Ways in the vending machine. That's not what I mean. I mean,
Because
with,
nobody's eating those Milky Ways.
first of all, Milky Way Midnight. Oh my, super tasty.
So good.
Um, uh, they may have ideas about another vertical to start within the organization of either a service or a product. That there could be all kinds of ideas that they have. We don't ask. And I would want to say that from a learning standpoint, people learn very quickly that they may need to keep their mouths shut in an organization. And so they're not going to just feel free to be able to say, oh, hey, by the way, I've been kind of noodling with this thing and thought that maybe it would be cool for us to explore and see if it's another way that we can offer a service or a product to our current client base and maybe market differently to create a new client base. they're going to just keep those things for themselves because they're not encouraged. It's not a safe environment to be able to talk about, here's what I've learned since I've been here. Here's how I'm applying that learning to what I'm doing and beyond. Can I talk to you about it? If you've shut down collaboration, I'm telling you, they're not coming to you. And then when you find out that they had this idea, what happens in organizations? They get mad. Well, why didn't you tell
Right.
us? Why didn't
Right.
you? Because this is
Well,
why.
we could have.
Because this is why, right?
And you want to take it to someone who's going to invest and care.
Yes.
I love what Mandy said. And did you know I got to meet Mandy? Mandy was in the reset room. I got to meet.
Yes. Yes.
If I'm not learning, I'm not happy. I get bored and stagnation. I get completely when I was at Hiring Solved, Sean Burton is who I reported to. And what was so great all the time was I would say, Sean, I want to do da 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 da. And he would say, I love that. Do that, do that, do that. He would always, it didn't matter what it was. He'd be like, do that. And then he would ask me, how are you doing with this? And he would say, hey, all I need from you is this. As long as you can do this, then do it. And it was like, what was funny is that a lot of it would be for the organization, and you would go back and you would be like, it's not working. You're like, oh, it's not. And he just knew that it wasn't going to work. But instead of being a killjoy, right, and saying, there's no way we can afford it, there's no way we're going to be able to do it, he would say, we don't have any money. Like, try to implement this. These are the parameters. If you could do this, we will implement it. Right. And it would be impossible to implement. But he still tried, because at that organization, the slogan was, do the impossible. And this is what a secret little bit of lore. Hiring Solve doesn't exist anymore. But there was a developer when Sean was developing this product way back. A guy told him it couldn't be done. It could not be done. And when he left, hacked the Slack. So when you logged in, it said, Sean Burton wants you to do the impossible. And then he went in and said, we made the impossible possible. And that became like the internal slogan for the organization, a product of making the impossible possible. And it's through actual learning and not just words that we can make the impossible possible.
And that's where I know that some organizations have had learning labs, and the formalized learning lab. Awesome. Terrific. I would say, if you could just do sort of like a softer version of a learning lab, especially if you have a distributed workforce. I try to do something like get people on video with you and just say, and hopefully you fostered conversation right before this. This can't be your first foray. You had to have rapport development happening before this. But I'll get on with some folks and say, what are two things we could fix right now? What are two things we could fix a year from now? And fix means I'm opening the door to say something may be broken or not efficient. I'm not white knuckling the things that I oversee. If you're in a leadership role, you got to stop white knuckling things, because learning is going to be stymied because of that inflexibility. If someone tells me, honestly, John, your representation of the organization has gone off the rails a little bit. We feel like you've become this, and it's made it harder for us to introduce. And I'm going real personal when I say that. You made it harder for us to do this, and this. I need to be able to hear that and say, thank you.
Do people say that? Do you feel like that?
Nah, but I'm just saying.
BJ
tells me all kinds of things that I'm doing wrong. Every time she starts talking, I put her mic on mute, and she talks for a while and has no idea I didn't hear anything. But
I know she's got your number.
She has my number. And then 5 minutes in, she sees she's on mute, and she's like, you didn't hear anything. Nope, nothing. But genuinely, how is that rapport development? How has it been fostered? And lean into it for learning. Find out things about the organization from a different perspective than your own.
Because you could spark something wonderful and beautiful that you had no idea.
100%. 100%. And then everybody gets real comfortable with continuous learning. Real comfortable with it.
And bringing that back. We used to do show and tell, learning something and then bringing it back to the group.
I'd
No,
be
we have
afraid
that
of
kind of
I'd be afraid of what some people would bring in for show and tell. I'm just going to
ride
say
in
it.
that pony.
Well, not that. I'd be okay with that. I'd be worried about some other things people would bring. Just saying.
I learned all the choreography to the video for just kidding.
That's a whole other episode.
By the way, the best thing are the AI clips that they have of me and John when they do the screenshot, the videos. It's always us going. They're so bad. I don't know where they get it.
I always.
And I keep them.
We love y'all. Again, I'm going to say, if you listen to
our
it later, please put in books, links to video series, learning that you have taken recently that you love.
Please
do.
get your shirts and wear them to unleash. Please
Oh, there we are. We'll see you next week.
To wear them. I'll be embarrassed. So get your shirt for a LinkedIn user and your mugs for But First Copy. We will see you at some point next week. If you see
Wednesday,
us,
look for the time to be announced on Wednesday. We have to kind of wait and see when we can have a spot. So we'll let you know as soon as we know. But we'll see you all next week from Vegas.
Bye.
Bye.